Is your wooden spoon looking a little thirsty? Is your cutting board crying out for a little moisture? Taking care of your kitchen utensils keeps them looking beautiful and helps them last a long time. So today I'm going to give mine a bit of a spa day. I'm going to show you what some people call a spoon butter or a board butter, but what I just like to call wood lube. It's got just two ingredients, mineral oil and beeswax, so it's really simple to make. Then I'm going to grab my wood and show you how to lube it up. A few of my wooden pieces have some great stories to tell. I'm going to share some thoughts about why I think it's important to treat your wood right. Why is it important to condition your wood and use wood lube on it? There's a couple of reasons. First of all, it really enhances the natural beauty. Keeping the wood well conditioned brings out the beautiful color as well as the wood grain in it. It keeps it sexy. There's also some functional reasons why it's important to keep your wood well conditioned. Doing so protects it against moisture and food stains, so it'll keep it looking better longer. Another really functional reason why it's important to keep your wood conditioned is that it prevents drying and cracking, which will help extend its life. Like I said, making the wood lube is really simple. It's just got two ingredients, mineral oil, and be sure to use the food safe variety, and beeswax. And I like to use organic beeswax pellets. You would not want to put anything on your wood that you would not want to put in your mouth. Proportion-wise, it's pretty simple. You take 4 parts mineral oil and 1 part beeswax by weight or volume. If you want to go with a thicker consistency, you could use a 3-to-1 ratio instead, but I prefer the 4-to-1. What you want to do is heat this up low and slow. Remember, mineral oil is combustible, so be careful, don't heat it up too high. You could use a crock pot to do that, but what I use is the double boiler method. So I put the mineral oil and the beeswax into a glass container, and then I put that over a pan of boiling water. That heats it up nice and slow, very safe, very chill. Just let that mixture heat up slowly. Keep stirring occasionally until you find that all of the pellets have fully dissolved into the mineral oil. It took me about 15 minutes for this batch. Once the beeswax pellets are dissolved, you can turn off the heat and then put it into a glass container to cool. You'll know that it's cool when it turns opaque and it turns into a thicker consistency. Here's a tip: if you make a little bit larger of a batch, you can put that into some extra glass jars, throw a label on it, and give it as a gift to people. Share some lube with your favorite Epicurean. Once the wood lube has cooled, and you'll know it's cool because it'll turn cold and it'll also go opaque in the jar, you can begin the process of applying it to your wooden utensils. Now it's time to gather your wood. You can use this wood conditioner on anything that comes in contact with food, as long as it doesn't have a protective coating, because obviously that would prevent the conditioner from getting into the wood. So I'm thinking wooden spoons, salad bowls, cutting boards, butcher blocks, that sort of thing. Make sure whatever you're putting this on is clean and dry. Any moisture might prevent the conditioner from getting into the wood, and you don't want to put this on anything that's got dust or food particles or anything like that on it. That's just a little gross. Now it's time to apply the wood lube, and again, that could not be simpler. You can use a cloth or you can use a rubber glove, but I just like to go in directly with my fingers and take a big glob and start spreading it around really generously on all my wooden utensils. The bonus of using your fingers is that it gives your hands a bit of a spa day too. My hands end up feeling real nice in the days afterwards. Anyway, apply a really generous coating, like I said, and get into all the nooks and crannies. Do not be shy. Some cutting boards have little ridges on them. Some of your spoons might have holes in the handles. Make sure you get every single surface and don't be stingy with it. Apply a thick layer. You're gonna let this sit for a few hours or even overnight to really let that conditioner absorb into the wood. Once you've allowed the wood lube to penetrate for a while, it's time to buff off the excess. Take a clean, dry cloth, and using a circular motion, really get into all those nooks and crannies to get off any of the excess wood lube that might still be on the surface. Then continue to buff it in until you get a really nice shine and a beautiful finish. Your wood is now ready to use. How often should you repeat the conditioning process? Well, that depends on how thirsty your wood is. A number of factors are going to affect that. One, how humid is your kitchen and where you live. If it's really dry, you might need to condition things more often. Another factor is how often do you use these things? If you tend to clean your wood and use your wood and clean your wood, then it might dry out more quickly and you might have to condition more often. Really, the best approach is to listen to your wood. If it's looking dry, if it's a little fuzzy, if you throw a couple of drops of water on it and it tends to absorb in very quickly, then it's time to condition your wood and lube it up. I'll throw a link in the description from Serious Eats that has even more information about how to treat your wood. One of the things I love about wood utensils in the kitchen is that it can last a long time if you take care of it. This is a pig cutting board that my sister Julie gave me when I moved into my condo a few years back. And when she gave it to me, I just had to laugh because it brought up a really funny family story. It's a little bit debated in my family, but the lore is that my sister Sharon, when she got married about 30 years ago, was in our hometown and was at my mom's place, and she saw and took the much beloved pig cutting board that my mother used to prepare all of her cooking on. So I gave Sharon the opportunity to set the record straight, to tell her side of the story. Unfortunately, I was unable to record the audio on the FaceTime call, but basically what Sharon is saying is she's admitting to coercing our poor mother into giving out this beloved family heirloom. No, actually what she's saying is the real story is that Sharon saw that mom had put this old pig cutting board on a pile of stuff to get rid of in the basement. And Sharon was down there doing some laundry, saw the pig, asked mom, "What are you doing with this?" And mom was like, "Ah, take it," which totally tracks. She was not a sentimental woman, not a sentimental bone in her body. So Sharon grabbed it and put it on her luggage as she was going to be heading out in the next couple of days to go back to where she was living in Africa. My younger brother saw it and, of course, raised a stink. "What are you doing with the pig? Why are you taking this thing?" And thus the family lore was born. We still, when we get together, the pig often comes up, and it's like, "Oh, Sharon, what are you doing with that pig?" And I asked Sharon to send me a picture of this pig, and I think it's in my memory it was a little bit more interesting. It was a little bit more like a pig, like this. But in reality, it is a very ugly pig. It is very well used. It's got red paint around the edge, which probably is like lead paint or something like that. But Sharon did admit and was very happy to say that it was a very well-conditioned piece of wood. So I give her kudos for that. Another piece of wood that I want to tell a story about is this table right here that, again, when I came into this condo a few years back, I did not have a kitchen, island or anything like that. I went to visit a neighbor's house that had a similar layout, and they had this tall, long countertop height board that I really loved, but I couldn't really find one. And so what I did is at the local home center, I found a butcher block cutting board, which is about, 2 feet wide by about 6 or 7 feet long, perfect for my room. And then I was like, okay, well, now I need some legs for this. And I, had known that IKEA had some legs, but I was, nah, I don't really want that. I came across this great company online called DIYhairpinlegs.com. They are a manufacturer in the US of a wide variety of powder-coated metal legs. And they could not have been more helpful. I described the project that I was doing and gave them like the dimensions of this and the weight of it. And they were like, okay, well, you want to use this type of legs that have this thickness. They come in all sorts of heights, ranging from like a couple of inches all the way up to counter height and beyond. And the cool thing is that they come in so many colors. So of course I had to get it in my favorite color, orange. So I just love this so much. It's been a great addition to my kitchen. I love that it gets used over time, that it shows its wear, where I've dropped stuff on it or cut things on it or used. One thing I will point out though is that if you condition something like this that's a surface in your kitchen, I give it a couple of days before I put any sort of paperwork or mail or anything on top of it. I've made that mistake in the past where I've just dropped some things on there and found that the wood lube, the conditioner, has a tendency to, in the couple days after putting it on, seep up into whatever you put on it. So just be careful with that as a note. You don't want to get any stains on any fabric or cloth or paperwork that's important or anything like that. You've made it this far. You've indulged me with a couple of stories about some of the wooden pieces in my life. If you can indulge me further, I just have a couple of other ideas about why I think it's important to care for and maintain wooden objects in your life. One of the things I love about wood is that it is truly beautiful. All by itself, the wood grain, the variety of colors, I just love wood and having it in my life. Especially with kitchen utensils though, it's wood that you use. So it shows its age, it shows its use. It has cut marks, it has dents, it has bumps where you've banged it or dropped it. It is a character in your life. And because it's with you for a long time, it can sort of develop character as it ages. Even though it'll sometimes show a stain if you like put beets on it or spill some coffee on it, it's a participant in your life and it has a carrier of those memories and those experiences, which I'm not mad about. The other thing about wood, and this is probably a no-brainer, is that it is built to last. We live in a era of disposability, of planned obsolescence, and wood, if you treat it right, is going to be around for a long time. I mean, some of these things are even things you could pass on to friends or family members after you've gotten a lot of use out of them. Maintaining the things that you own and taking care of them can be a radical act in an age of disposability like we live in. Thinking of ourselves as stewards or custodians of the things that we own that, might not be ours forever, that we can pass along and that we can share with others is a great perspective to have. The other thing I think about is that there's something about the act of preparing the wood lube or wood conditioner, of buffing it in, rubbing it out, looking at the character of the wood. It is time well spent. It's a form of meditation, I think, and takes your attention and presence. It's a really sensory experience. There's the feel of the wood, there's the smell of the mixture, there's the sound of rubbing it onto the wood, there's the appearance of the beautiful wood grain as it changes from dull and dry to well-conditioned. It's really tactile and deliberate, and we don't have a lot of those processes in our lives these days. It requires a bit of patience while you wait for the wood lube to penetrate into the fibers. It's slow work, and in that slow work, I think we have time to appreciate things and maybe even express some gratitude. And there you have it. I hope this video has given you some practical advice about how to keep a kitchen full of wood that is lubed up and ready for action. It really feels good, I think, to slow down and pay some attention and care to the objects that serve us every day. If you treat your wood right, I'm sure it will give you memories and stories to share for years to come. Thanks for watching.